Hey there, and welcome to today's amazing episode of Make Today Mammoth. I am your host, Dallas Hardcastle, and today we are going to talk about how to move yourself out of that wet cement, that place of indecision, and to get on the fast track of taking action and doing it with confidence and doing it right now. Let's get started. Friends, welcome to today's episode of easy for me to say, Make Today Mammoth. This is Dallas Hardcastle. I'm super excited to be here with you. I appreciate and honor the fact that you have chosen to spend some of your time with us today and that you are investing in you and growing your knowledge and growing the information and your skills and your excitement, I hope, and drive to be able to do and be so much better. If this is your first time checking in on Make Today Mammoth, we appreciate you investing and making the time to do so. If you are a returning listener or viewer, thank you so much. You can also see us on our YouTube channel, Make Today Mammoth, and we appreciate you stopping by. If you have not already done so, we put pretty fair amount of time, energy, and effort into creating this podcast for you. If the one favor we ask is if you could go and give us a 5-star review and maybe even leave us a comment, because that allows this to be able to get pushed up into the algorithms. And why that matters is because there are people out there all over the country, all over the world that are struggling, that are searching, that are looking for more information, ways to be able to step up their business, their game, their life. They're looking for a way and a voice that they can resonate with and how they can actually improve and do better, maybe like you. If you know anyone, please share this with them. But by using the 5-star review, that allows more people to be able to find us in the search and gives us more opportunity to impact more lives. So friends, this is going to be a shorter episode today, but with it, let's get right started into it. So we're always wanting to bring you the things that really make the big difference. There's all of these things, of course, that can make the little degree, the little degree, the little degree. There's all of these things that can make a little bit of a difference and, can tweak here and tweak there. I always want to focus on these big levers, the big things. And I want to drive some of these home because some of these stuff we hear, and it's the downside. It's the cursing and the blessing of hearing something sometimes over and over and over again. Is sometimes after we hear it the 10th, the 20th, the 50th time, we're like, that's the time. Now it's time to go. It's go time. Other times we're listening to these things and it becomes like the tired old platitude, right? It's like you hear it the 20th time, the 50th time, work hard, not smart, and that's great. You're going to be like the 5 people you most like in your circle, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So we ignore this stuff. This one is a big and this is one of these things where if I had to say these are the 5 things that changed my life the most, if I was forced, like you will lose everything. You will lose everything unless you are able to accurately assess what are the 5 biggest levers that during the course of your life and your business that you are able to really harness and just be able to grab these levers and be able to just exert the proper force at the right time on these things to really make a difference in your life. One of them is the ability to be an action taker, decisive hyper implementer. What does that mean in the real specific terms? Because that, again, can be kind of layman, right? Like, oh, yeah, he's an action taker. What I mean is an immediate action taker. I don't mean, this is somebody who just takes action. I mean, the people, almost bar none, that are the most successful business people that I know are wicked fast at decision making. They are wicked decisive. This is where I think a disconnect occurs. And this, as I was thinking through this episode a little bit, I'm like, why don't people do this? And there's a bunch of layers to this, and we're going to talk on a few of them. But here's one that struck me that I really started to think through and really peel apart a little bit, that I think that we begin to project something that we believe to be true because we see it from these like big, mega successful people. And then we try to emulate that part into our business. And here's what I mean. Like sometimes we'll be talking about, it's like you got to get real specific with an avatar or with an offer. You got to get specific. You got to get tighter with this stuff. You can't be so broad, so all over the place. And people will be like, oh yeah, but what about this company or Walmart or whatever? And they're busy looking at these huge companies that are not them, or how they want to market. They want to market like Goodyear, right? They want to just do brand recognition, whereas that ain't gonna work. Do you have a tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in ad spend, or Coca-Cola, AT&T, Walmart, Amazon? Do you have billions of dollars in ad spend that you can just be like, hey, go out and spend $300 million out here on just brand recognition? You're not those people. So you can't go out and do brand recognition stuff if you're a company, sitting around 7 figures. If you're sitting around 8 figures, you're not doing brand recognition. You're not. You're using things like direct response marketing. You're going out to get people to come into your funnel, to be able to market to them directly, to be able to have conversations, to be able to sell to them. When we are looking at being decisive, I think sometimes we look at the biggest names, like, the Forbes 400 wealthiest people. And we're thinking, oh, well, that just doesn't seem to be who they are. If we see them on an interview or in a movie or, a conversation, that's not who they are. They're not just, being presented with something and just like, bam, they go. Bill Gates gets presented something and 10 seconds later he's like, do it. Fill in the blank, right? You go on and on with Elon or Tesla and with what happens on Amazon. You can just go on and on and on, right? But here's what you miss. When we are these entrepreneurs, these business owners, small business owners, so that means 7 and 8 figures easily. Even 9 figures isn't a huge company. I mean, $100 million, don't get me wrong, right? That's a good sized company, but that's not a $100 billion company. Those are vastly different things. So when we're in this, swimming in these waters where maybe you're making 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, or maybe you're trying to get to 6 figures, the thing that is killing most entrepreneurs and business owners that I've worked with now for the better part of 25 years is their inability to be decisive and to be hyper implementers, meaning going out and just taking that action and doing it quickly. Because what Elon does with hundreds of billions of dollars is not the same thing, because it's hundreds of billions of dollars. They're taking a risk with a lot of money. So they're taking smaller risks with greater amounts of money. But when we're smaller, when we're making less than hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, and our companies aren't worth that, we're tending to take bigger risks with smaller amounts of money. Meaning they can't just take a $20 billion risk and just boom. There's going to be time, just like you and I. If you and I are making a $20 billion decision, we ain't making that in 30 seconds. But here is where 99.99% of the business owners and the entrepreneurs reside, is not there. It's in they're making 6 figures, or maybe they're making 60 grand, or maybe they're making 250 grand, or they're making $1 million. I work with these people. I know these people. I've been in masterminds with these people. I'm friends with these people. Even the ones that are making multiple 7 figures in income, I don't mean in revenue, but in income, they are trained to be hyper decision makers, hyper implementers, meaning specifically that the number of times that we are presented with a decision and we take days or weeks sometimes just to make a decision on something that we could literally just make right away. But it compounds so much that I think the average business owner just doesn't realize how much this compounds, because there's a psychological effect to being able to do it quick, now. But there's also just this linear time pathway that continues to extend, meaning that if we have 50 decisions to make, and these are right, like as an entrepreneur, we're making decisions all day, right? We're making decisions. If we have 50 decisions to make, and we make them, we get the information. Again, I'm not talking about being reckless, never talking about being reckless. But the biggest mistake I see is that entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, consultants, they think that what they need is more time. You don't need more time. You may require more information, but you don't need more time. Like if you're presented all the information, we're just going to say in air quotes, hypothetically, you're presented with all the information. You have everything you need to make an intelligent decision. And the most successful business people, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, human beings are going to say, okay, let's do this. They're going to be decisive. They're going to go. You're never going to have 100% of the information, because a big part of that information is what is action-based. It's action received. You begin gaining the real intel, the real information, the real results once we take the action. I don't understand fully what the result's going to be just by receiving information and saying yes. The results are now going to be received and earned by now taking the action. So the faster I can get to the result, the better off I'm going to be. The faster I can stack a series of results, the better I'm going to be, even if the result isn't the result that I wanted. Okay? Even if it's not the desired result, it's still moving me forward, because now I know that's not the path to go. I do this every single day. I make decisions that are not giving me desired results every day. We send out an email and it's like, oh, that one didn't work out. Subject line, oh, that wasn't quite right. The webinar, oh, that didn't quite, integrate the way I thought it would. The system, the page, the ads, the headline. Every day, things are going our way, and every day we're learning new ways to be able to correct some of the decisions we've made, because we thought with all the information that we had at the time in hand, with the power of taking action now, like our good old Eckhart Tolle tells us, the power of now is that we're present and we believe at this given time, this is exactly the thing to do. And then we will learn, and we get it back. We're like, oh, we thought we were going to get a 23%, on this, and it was 7. Okay, where can we improve? How can we get better? But when you're stacking 50 of these decisions, when we're going from a decision that can be made in an hour or in a minute to something that, like, give me overnight, give me a couple days, let me get back to you next week. We go from 50 decisions that could be made. Maybe we could be making one a day. So 50 days later, we've gone through 50 decisions. That is where the most successful people live. I promise you, that is where they reside. They live in that discomfort of knowing that the only thing that matters is the result they're going to get from the feedback of taking the action. They're either going to learn, get the result that they wanted, and then they're going to turn up the knobs and they're going to crank up the volume and put in more, or they're going to learn the lessons from the mistakes they've made, so now they can move forward more quickly and more accurately. That's all it is. But those 50 decisions can be made in 50 days, or think about compounding effect of, let me think about it a day or two. Let me get back to you next week, with the false presumption that we need more time to make a decision, when we don't need more time. Time does not grant us better ability for decision making. Information gives us better. But if you already have all the required information, what are you going to do? I mean, are you just going to go and take a walk, along the ocean and just stroll along the beaches, and your hands folded behind you and just thinking, and, maybe pull out a pipe and just like, let me think on this for a little while. No, you get into life, you do life, other things start coming, the other challenges of business, relationships, being a husband, a wife, a mom, a son, a daughter, all of these things start happening. And then we just get right back into the business of life. So it's not time, it's information. So we can do that in 50 days, or we can say, give me a day, give me a couple days, give me till next week. And unfortunately, I've seen it all too many times that those 50 decisions, those go on a year. 50 decisions can take a year easily. Someone's done it in just about a month and a half. Someone else has done it in a year. That's 10 and a half months. That's 10 and a half months of 1 year. Imagine that being a 5-year, a 10-year encapsulation of time. Imagine what that does. That's why I encourage you to live in the unfamiliar, to live in the uncomfortable, to just decide. Begin training yourself to make decisions. How do you train yourself to make decisions? You don't need to train yourself by making $10,000 and $50,000 and $100,000 decisions. At some point in time, those are going to come up and you're going to be required to make the decision of, do I want to decide now? Do I want to decide later? Or do I want to decide just not to make a decision and just continue to kick the can down the road and hope that just life will miraculously kind of take you where you want to go? I started doing this in 2 or 3 different ways. Number one, these are small, and I know they're small, but I'm telling you they worked, is number one, the alarm went off, boom, I jumped out of bed. I was not a jumper out of bed, but I began to promise myself, decision, my alarm, jump out of bed. Just would go do it. Another thing, cold showers. People go, oh, no, I've tried cold showers. Those are awful. Well, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Yes, I'm not telling you that they're easy, but I'm telling you that of all of the health benefits that cold plunges and cold showers do, of all of the health benefits they do, the unexpected one for me was it helped me to become much more decisive. How? I'm glad you asked. Thank you. When I would get ready to get in and I would feel that ice cold water, it would be in my shower and I'd feel that ice cold water like spraying off the floor, hitting me in the feet, hitting me in the calves, hitting me in the shins. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so cold, it's so cold. I measured the water temperature, it was 38 degrees, right? Cold stuff. If I sat and thought about it, unfortunately I didn't do this, right? This is the point of the story. But if I just stood back there and thought about it, this is really going to hurt. Oh, this is going to be a stinger. Oh, this isn't going to feel comfortable. Man, let me stand in the back of the shower for 30 seconds, 2 minutes and be thinking about it? No way. I'm getting back out, right? I'm like, oh, this is freezing. No way. So I would step in the shower and I would lunge. If there was a video camera in there, which not sure but I'd want to see, but I would lunge into it face first, just bam, let that stuff hit me, face, chest, and I would immediately spin around so it'd start getting all on the top of my back. I'm sitting there going, like doing that like gasp breathing because that's a real reflex. Of course, that's part of the whole process is controlling your breathing and learning how to getting yourself conditioned so that de-excitation is not occurring. But the cold shower thing really got me into that. And it really got me to step in, go. So there's no thinking. When you're going to make a phone call, don't think, just pick up, mash buttons, go. When I would go into a restaurant, I would want to put myself into a position where I could be very, very decisive with my ordering. So even if it was, Cheesecake Factory menu with friggin' whatever it was, 15 pages and 200 items, it just get in there, boom, go, decide, done, put it down. Get decisive. Start practicing being decisive with the smaller things. And then when the bigger things come, you've already got yourself conditioned to not only take fast action so that you can allow yourself the gift of being a hyper implementer. So you can allow yourself a gift of receiving results so that you actually know what's working and not working so you can actually move forward more quickly. Actually know, but also now you know. Now you will forever know that we don't need more time. What we need is more information if we need more information. But it's never more time. So if you're on a phone call with somebody, and if it's just like, well, I need some time to think about this, it's like, well, cool. What are you thinking about? It's more information. So if you need more information, get more information, but get it right there. Don't say, hey, let me come back to you in 2 or 3 days and ask you some more questions. No, find out now. Find out now what it is that is required to be done so that now you can go ahead and be decisive at that point and get moving forward. Friends, use this. Become decisive. Step into these situations and act quickly so that you can get to the result and begin stacking and compounding the great returns of now having a result that you can now use to go forward. If you have 50 decisions, be the person who's doing them over days in a few weeks, not the one who's doing that over the course of a year and putting yourself back 6, 9, 10, 12 months behind other people that are busy stacking and getting results so they can move forward, whereas some people 6 months later are still waiting to make the decision. And they still have no evidence, no history, no feedback, no result on what that one simple decision would have made for them so that they could actually be moving forward. So 6 months later, they're still sitting there, no smarter, with far less confidence, because speed, momentum, trajectory has now been affected. There is no momentum. There is no inertia. There's just sitting. And now we're required to regenerate the energy, the power, the excitement, the motivation, the inspiration to get ourselves moving again, because we've just been sitting, wallowing in a decision, hoping that time will somehow make the difference. Friends, my name is Dallas Hardcastle. I hope that this has been a super helpful episode for you. If you have any questions ever on this stuff, feel free to reach out and message us. I am on the social medias. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram or on Facebook, feel free to do so, or connect with us on LinkedIn. We appreciate you being here. Dallas Hardcastle signing off. As always, just make today mammoth, my friends. And we will look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.